Hi, this is Marty from Blue Lightning TV. I'm going to show you how to create a colorful triple exposure poster from one photo. Open a photo you'd like to use for this project. If you'd like to use this one, I provided its link in my video's description or project files. The first step is to separate our subject from its background. There are many ways to do this. For example, in CC 2020 or later, unlock the layer and open the Properties panel. If you don't see it, go to Window and Properties. Click Remove Background. Photoshop automatically isolates our subject and places a layer mask of it, thereby hiding or masking out the background. Another way is to open your Quick Selection tool and click Select Subject. This creates a selection around our subject. If you need to add to the selection, just drag your tool inside your subject. To remove areas outside the selection, press and hold Alt or Option as you drag over those areas. A third way is to go to the Object Selection tool and hover it over your subject. When you see a pink outline around it, click it. If you're using this photo for your convenience, I already created an accurate selection of this subject that we can use. To access it, open your Channels panel. If you don't see it, go to Window and Channels. Control or Command-click the Alpha 1 thumbnail to select its shape. Open back the Layers panel and click the Layer Mask icon to make a layer mask of the selection. We'll convert it into a smart object so we can modify it non-destructively. To do this, click the icon at the upper right and click Convert to Smart Object. We'll create a new document by pressing Ctrl or Command N, or you could go to File and New. You can make its width and height any size you want. For this example, I'll type in 1920 pixels for its width and 1080 pixels for its height. I'll make its resolution 150 pixels per inch. The color mode is RGB and 8 bits per channel. Make the background black. If it isn't black, just click the color box, and when the color picker opens, pick black. Then click Create or press Enter or Return. Open back your subject. We'll drag it onto our new document. If your Move tool isn't open, press V on your keyboard. Drag it onto the tab of the new document. Without releasing your mouse or pen, drag it down and release. We'll make 2 copies of it by pressing Ctrl or Command J twice. If you want to use the same colors I'm using, name the top copy green, the middle copy red, and the original layer blue. Hide the green and red layers and double-click an empty area of the blue copy to open its layer style window. Under Advanced Blending, you'll notice that the red, green, and blue channels are checked. Uncheck the red and green channels, which will show just the blue channel of our subject. Hide the blue layer and make the red layer visible. Double-click an empty area of this layer to open the Layer Style window. Uncheck the green and blue channels. Hide the red layer and make the green layer visible, and double-click an empty area of this layer to open the Layer Style window. Uncheck the red and blue channels. Next, we'll adjust the size of each layer. Hide the green layer and make the blue layer visible and active. Press Ctrl or Command T to open the Transform tool. At the top, make sure the chain link icon is active between the transform's width and height. This links them together. Hover your cursor over the W or the H, and when it changes into a scrubby slider, drag it to the left or right to decrease or increase its size. Then drag it into a position you like and press Enter or Return. Remember, you can adjust the size and position of any of the color layers at any time. Make the red layer visible and active. Let's flip it horizontally. Go to Edit, Transform, and Flip Horizontal. Open your Transform tool and adjust its size by dragging the scrubby slider to the right or left. Position it and feel free to overlap it with the blue layer. Notice the overlapping area is a different color. Depending on which channels are overlapping with each other will determine what kind of color appears. Make the green layer visible and active. Open the Transform tool, adjust its size and position, and make sure you leave room for your text. Before we add the text, let's make a thin outline border surrounding the inside perimeter of our document. To do this, click the New Layer icon to make a new layer. We'll fill it with black, but before we do, let's check our foreground and background colors. If they aren't black and white respectively, press D on your keyboard. If it's inverted, press X. Since black is our foreground color, press Alt or Option plus Delete. Double-click the layer to open its layer style window. Click Inner Glow. If the box isn't white, click it, and when the color picker opens, pick white. The blend mode is normal, the opacity is 100%, and the noise is 0. The technique is irrelevant in this case. The source is edge, the choke is 100%, and the size is 24 pixels. The contour is linear, and the range is 50%. Click Stroke. The color is black. The size is 22 pixels, which is 2 pixels less than Inner Glow. The position is inside, the blend mode is normal, and the opacity is 100%. Open the Channels panel and Control or Command click the thumbnail of any of the channels to select the shape of the thin white border. Open back the Layers panel and drag layer 1 to the trash since we don't need it anymore. Click the New Layer icon to make a new layer. We'll fill the selection with white, and since our background color is white, press Ctrl or Command plus Delete. Deselect it by pressing Ctrl or Command D, and let's name it Border. Open the Horizontal Type tool and invert the colors so white is our foreground color. Open the Type Picker and pick a font you like. If you like to use the same font I'm using, the name is Dreamcatcher. I provided that link as well. I'll make its size 168 points. However, feel free to make it any size you want depending on the font you choose and the number of characters in your text. Make the aliasing smooth, and I'll align it to the left. Click on your document and type out your text. To adjust the space between the lines of text, known as leading, highlight the lines and press the F5 key at the top of your keyboard, or go to Window and Character. Drag the leading icon to the left or right. To adjust the space between all your characters, known as tracking, drag the tracking icon to the left or right. If you want to readjust the tracking of any line of text, highlight that line and either drag the tracking icon or press and hold Alt or Option and the right or left arrow key in your keyboard. To reposition the text, open your Move tool and move it. To add text below it, Control or Command click the New Layer icon to make a new layer below the active layer. Open your Type tool and apply the same methods to adjust the size, position, and tracking for your additional lines of text. This is Marty from Blue Lightning TV. Thanks for watching.